Jezebel spirit has taken over many of the seminaries and Bible colleges. Jesus' word to that church would be the word to every church flying a rainbow flag, officiating same-sex marriages, and not preaching that there is only male and female, and marriage is only for male and female, and sex is only for marriage. That's it. And so what you're up against now is fairly new to your state, but it is an old problem. We're now seeing the rise, when it comes to God and government, I'm still on my words 3 and 4. What we're seeing now is something that the Bible would call a stronghold. So in a war, for those of you that are military, you know that you can't just win a war without starting with a stronghold. A stronghold is, there's no way that we can take this enemy, but is there a place that we could set up a base of operations? A forward operating base. A place where we could plan and prepare, and from which we could venture out for war and come back for safety. The Bible calls that a stronghold. It's actually language of the Bible. What's true of physical warfare is also true of spiritual warfare. So what we saw very recently, America decided that there would be 2 strongholds in America. New York City and Seattle, Washington. These are now strongholds. The enemy hasn't taken America, but he's taken 2 strongholds. From a geographic position, think in military terms, how strategic? East Coast, West Coast. If you're going to have a stronghold, that's where you move from. In addition, you've got money here and you've got media here. And so you have the resources for the stronghold to actually elicit quite a significant war. And what happened both in New York and in Seattle, what kind of mayor was elected? A socialist. A socialist. This is a violation of the 8th commandment. The 8th commandment says, "Thou shalt not steal," which means you own things. It's not possible to steal from you unless you own it. Now, it doesn't matter if someone steals from you with a gun or someone steals from you with a pen, it's still stealing. And so, when the Bible says, "Thou shalt not steal," socialism is stealing. And it is saying, for the name of equity, I will take from these people and give to those people. That's stealing. Socialism is a half step to communism. The communists will tell you this. Marx and Engels declare it. They're the authors of the Communist Manifesto. And they say, well, let's move from private property ownership, the 8th commandment, "Thou shalt not steal," to collective ownership, which eventually means the government will take over all ownership. What just happened in Seattle is a violation of the 8th commandment. The 10 commandments are literally written by the finger of God, to quote Deuteronomy. God gets 2 tablets and says, here's 10 things. Now, let me give you the context for this because it's very significant. The people he's writing the 10 commandments to, they're a nation of a few million people. They just escaped slavery in Egypt, and they're in the wilderness. Guess what their next mission is? To form a nation. The commandments are not just for your personal edification, but for national formation. And the 10 commandments were to prepare them in the days of Joshua. When you enter into the land, first of all, you need to know there's a God. And the God is over the government, and God rules through laws, and you need to enforce the laws. And these laws include things regarding marriage and life and property ownership and private property. You go to Seattle, they're like, we never heard of these things. It's because you took the 10 Commandments out of the classroom and you all went to the government school. That's why you don't know these things. That's why you don't know these things. So here's what you're dealing with now. You're dealing with, I was thinking about it. So over in Seattle, they've got these safe injection sites. Have you heard of those? It's where if you want to put poison in, you can safely do so as if there was such a thing. Let me say this. The two safe injection points are Olympia and the mayor's office. That's where Satan is injecting poison, lies, demonic oppression, and feeding the stronghold. Now, you're over on this side of the mountain. You know it because you have to deal with it. But when you hear things like diversity is our strength, no, it's not. Strength is our strength. Strength is our strength. Diversity is not our strength. You know what is our strength? Unity is our strength. In heaven, before there was the war in the unseen realm, there was no diversity, there was unity. There wasn't diversity until Satan and demons decided there would be a second vision. And then you have division, and division literally means two visions. And we don't like the word division, so we use the word diversity, but it's the same concept. Jesus says a house that's divided, what? Collapses. The same is true for states. They're just big houses. What we're looking at now is sanctuary cities, which is literally saying we're going to violate the entire principle of the Old Testament and that our God works through laws that need to be enforced. The first 5 books of the Old Testament, they're called the books of the law by Jesus. They have 613 laws. Even if you're not smart, you're like, I think laws matter. That seems to be where we begin in the books. When you receive people who are saying, we will not enforce our laws, and we will actually prefer those who are law breakers, and then we will oppose those who are law enforcement and law keepers, you know that the war in heaven has come to the streets of the Pacific Northwest. This is spiritual warfare. This is evil. This is demonic. This is lawlessness. This is a violation of everything that God commands and decrees. So now, the very strange promise is this. First of all, if you want to abort your baby, kill your baby, the government will take care of that. The government has plenty of pills to kill all the babies for a very long time. We have a great stockpile. Okay? If your baby does live, then we will provide the childcare to raise your child. And then when your child goes to school, we'll educate your child. And if you need groceries, we're going to open government grocery stores because we all know the government is good at things, so they should do new businesses. And then we'll feed your child. And if you need to transport, we'll give you free transportation through the government. And then if your child graduates and wants to go to college, we'll provide a way for them to get a degree from the government. So if they make it out of the womb, from the time that they are born until the time they get a degree, they're entirely dependent upon the government, which is slavery. That's slavery. That's exactly what that is.